Raindrops on roses and whiskers on kittens. Shall I tell you a few of my favourite things? Well, I may well have just spent 2 weeks in Austria, but I'm not actually going to be taking you on a Sound of Music tour, but I am going to share some of my favourite things. Tea and cake, a little bit of charity shopping, and of course, flowers. Hello, my name's Julie from Julie Davis Flower Workshops, and Flowers Start, the online flower arranging classes. As I said, we've just spent 2 weeks in Austria. We took the train from London, the Eurostar to Paris, and then the overnight train to Vienna, and then the internal train to Salzburg for a few days. And if you want to catch up on some of my Salzburg adventures, check out last week's video when I took you to the Salzburg Christmas Museum. Welcome to our first stopping point for a little bit of tea and cake. This is the Café Central. Now if you watch on later on in the video, I'm going to make 2 recommendations for fabulous videos which were filmed in Austria just a few days before we arrived. This cafe is really well located if you happen to be visiting the Sigmund Freud Museum or perhaps the Spanish horses. We just took our chances and didn't pre-book. There was a queue outside though, but it was only about a 15-minute wait before we got a table. As you can see, it's a beautiful interior with a vaulted high ceiling and the waiters all kitted out in traditional garb. I chose an apple strudel and it was absolutely delicious. I was momentarily slightly flummoxed by the tea bag, so I was served with a pot of boiling water, slices of lemon, because when you're in Austria, milk tea is served black. You have to ask for milk if you want it. It's quite short to do with my tea bag. I like my tea really weak, so I'm just dabbling it in my cup, but I think perhaps I should have put it straight into the teapot. And who doesn't want a little bit of chocolate on the side? My cake was delicious, but I'll be honest, and I did play it safe because I wasn't entirely sure what the names of the cakes actually meant. So next time I visit this cafe, I will be taking a closer look at all the cakes laid out behind the glass and make a mental note before I order what I want. We hopped on and off public transport throughout our stay in Vienna, and if you want to find out more about that, I've got a separate video which I'll link in the description underneath this one. But for now, how about a bird's eye view, or at least a close-up view of the cathedral and its fantastic tiled roof. We took the glass-sided lift up to the rooftop bar, the Sky Bar, at the department store called Stiefel. You'll have to forgive my pronunciation. German is not my forte, but we came up here at about 6:30 in the evening for a long, cool drink after a hot day of sightseeing and had some great views over the city. The next day we had tickets to look at the Spanish horses. They were actually on their summer holidays, but we took the opportunity of just trekking out the Demel Cafe on our way over. Now, if you are planning to go to Austria, you definitely need to check out the 2 videos I'm going to list in the description under this one. And the first, well, they're both by 2 Germans in Britain, and Kirsten takes you on a tour of all her favourite cafes in Vienna, and then later on a romantic tour around the city on one of the horse and carts. On the recommendation of Kirsten's husband Georg, I'm choosing Kaisersmarrn. I probably butchered that pronunciation, but it was absolutely delicious. A light battery cake that's sort of chopped up a little bit with a plum sauce on the side. Again, we had to queue up to be seated, but the queue this time was literally only 5 minutes long. I think we probably timed our visit just right and got here just after 5 o'clock in the afternoon. The next day we visited Café Shel, and this again was a recommendation of Kirsten's. So we'd actually been to visit the street market at Newbarn and then we walked a short distance to the cafe for another spot of afternoon tea. It was like stepping back in time going to Cafe Shel. The heat in Vienna at the end of July was just so intense. So to go inside to somewhere that was cool and calm with a piano playing in the background was just absolutely wonderful. I ordered a slice of the Cafe Shel Schnitt. It was a very low chocolate cake, a slight resemblance to a crispy chocolate brownie. I'm sure it'll come as no surprise that when I travel abroad, I absolutely love looking at all the flower shops. I very rarely buy anything though, because it's totally impractical when you're on holiday unless you're staying put for at least 4 or 5 days. It's really interesting to see what is available on sale and how much the little bouquets and individual stems of flowers cost. So you can see here little bundles of roses which have been put together. There's lavender for sale, and then pot plants, always really popular, but I guess that's because it is so hot here that cut flowers don't last particularly long. And then one thing I absolutely loved was spotting this florist doing a live demonstration of making a dried wreath. You quite often see this when you visit florist shops in Belgium and Holland. There were flower stalls absolutely everywhere, whether it was a proper flower shop or a pop-up stall or on a street market. So I just absolutely love the vibrant colours here. There was lots that was really familiar, with the chrysanthemums and the gerberas and the roses, and of course the gladioli, but more unusually the yellow foxtail lilies, the big spikes in the background there. I just wish I could have bought some to take home with me. I was interested to see these grab-and-go bouquets, lots of colourful combinations. Let me know in the comments which one catches your eye. This flower shop was just outside our regular metro station on the way back to our apartment. I can see sunflowers, white gerbera, orange gerbera lilies, a huge protea in the purple bouquet there, and just a sneak peek inside the shop where there's a little bit of cold storage. I particularly love these bouquets, but bear in mind, beautiful as they are, there must have been about 8 or 10 packed together there. So the individual bouquets there, €3 each. The further we got away from the city centre, the more of the florist went towards houseplants. So this has a sort of almost look of a greengrocer to it. My husband called me back at this point and told me to look over my shoulder at the flower foam that was being soaked in the bucket outside. There were lots of florists in the neighbourhood we were staying in. This was a particularly beautiful one, mainly selling pot plants. And then further down the road, slightly more colourful. So we've got the sunflowers, the huge alliums, the gladioli, the gorgeous hydrangea in the pots. Now this was a rather interesting florist just around the corner from the Café Central, which I showed you right at the beginning of the video. And I couldn't quite work out what these arrangements were. Little tiny posy arrangements, I think featuring mainly nuts and seed cases, and then round the side silk flowers, orchids and pot plants. I'm imagining this was a pop-up flower store. We just had our afternoon tea at Cafe Shel and we were walking towards the main shopping centre just before we got caught in a rainstorm. I absolutely love these flowers. I think it said they were about €7 each. Love the really naturalistic style. You could imagine that somebody had just picked them from their garden. Can you spot the white yarrow, the yellowy Acamella mollis? And I'm wondering whether the purple might be Liatris. Now let's go back to the Saturday market at Vienna's Naschmarkt in the New Bar area. We were lucky enough to come across a most beautiful flower seller, and I'm just amazed that she'd managed to keep her flowers cool, calm and collected underneath an umbrella, while the rest of us were really flagging in the heat. Elsewhere on our travels we spotted this florist in a side street, so a lovely posy, a jam jar arrangement of flowers. I think I can see white scabious, a Rebecca, the pink flowers with a big circular head. And then, if my German is correct, I think this was a closing down sale, perhaps closing for the summer months. More dried lavender there. This time it was €4.50, and there was a beautiful olive wreath hanging up on the wall, and then a few little, assortment of little pots and containers. Pay as you wish. And then one afternoon it absolutely chucked it down. A bit of a relief after the temperatures of 35 degrees plus. So luckily enough we spotted a charity shop. So let's come on to my third favourite thing after tea, cake and flowers. I did buy myself a holiday souvenir in this particular charity shop. Let me know whether you can guess what it was. I do hope you've enjoyed today's video, whether you're a flower fan or whether you're thinking of holiday in Vienna just like me. And if you've got any holiday questions, why don't you ask me in the comments? That's all from me for now, and I'll see you again next time.